EbSynth, or EbSynth as I've been calling it until about 2 minutes ago, is this software that was created by I don't know how to pronounce it, I think it's Czech. It's this thing that what it does is basically you take a video, let's say the opening scene of Oddworld Abe's Oddysee, you know, this is Rupture Farms, and you know, you take like a screenshot from it, and then you paint over it in a style that you want. Now, here for example, I've painted over the keyframe terribly, and this is so rushed and so bad that it probably wouldn't even work, and I'm not going to bother trying with it. I'm just doing this as an example to show you what I mean by painting over a screenshot. You know, you just sort of do your own style of what is there. You then put this painted screenshot back into the EbSynth, and then it works out from your painting what the rest of the video would look like if it was done like that, in that style. It replicates the video in the style of that one shot that you painted. Now obviously, you know, it's not perfect. For example, if during the video a new object such as, let's say, a flying silver orb that wasn't in the frame that you painted suddenly appears, then it doesn't know how to do that because you haven't told it what to do when that thing appears. You haven't shown it the style of how you want that thing to appear in the video. It didn't know it existed, so it kind of messes it up. So to get better results, you need to paint multiple frames within the video to cover everything that happens in it basically. Which, you know, can take a while painting all these shots, but it's a damn sight more time saving than doing what animators of this nature have traditionally had to do and paint literally every single frame individually. Now, when I see a piece of technology like this, I think, oh damn, that's amazing. And then I usually proceed to try to use it for things it wasn't meant to be used for. Like I found a software that turns black and white images into colour, so naturally I decided to put colour pictures into it and see what happens. I don't know why I'm like that, it just seems to be the way my mind works for some reason. I'm quite insane. So my idea with EbSynth was, well, the cutscenes of the first two Oddworld games are pretty bad quality. They look fantastic and in my opinion are more realistic than what Oddworld inhabitants are doing nowadays with Oddworld Soulstorm, just in my opinion. I don't know why, but just the original cutscenes just look so much more real to me. But they're pixelated, you know, they're all sort of blurry and pixelated, all that sort of thing. But I have this, well, what I thought was a high quality image of Rupture Farms. So I figured, well, what if I put this picture of Rupture Farms and the opening scene of Abe's Oddysee through EbSynth? Would it replicate the cutscene, but in a much higher quality, I wonder? So I decided to try this out as my first ever use of EbSynth. So I went about matching up two screenshots from the opening of Abe's Oddysee with the picture of Rupture Farms. I did two screenshots because, of course, the opening shot changes. It starts off on the sign of Rupture Farms before panning over to the actual factory itself. The shot changes, so in order to capture everything in the scene, I had to do two keyframes, one of the sign and one of the factory, and match it up with the high quality picture. Actually, I've only just realised now that the smoke here matches up perfectly, like it's exactly the same shape and everything between the two images, so I think I accidentally screenshotted the precise frame that the high quality picture was based on. In the process of matching up the images, I discovered that actually the high quality image of Rupture Farms that I had was actually a lot smaller than I thought, and when I blew it up to match the size of the screenshots, it actually didn't seem like a massive improvement of quality overall. But it definitely looked different, even if only slightly. So I decided to just go along with it. You know, this was my first test of doing it, so I just sort of figured I might as well continue doing it. I do have ways to blow up the image and maintain the high quality that I'd intended, but as I was just testing this out, I figured there'd be no point going to all that work and then finding out it wouldn't work anyway, so I just stuck with the image as I had it. I found a picture of the sign way harder to match up, which I found surprising because I'd already matched up the factory part by this point, and I figured once that was matched it'd be a simple case of just placing the sign part of the high quality image over the screenshot. I think the sign might actually be at a different angle between the high quality image and the screenshots, so I wasn't able to get it to match up quite as perfectly as I'd hoped. And in order for EbSynth to work properly, I think it needs to be pretty precise. So once I'd got these images matched up as best as I could, I put them through EbSynth and let it attempt to produce a video of what it thought the opening shot of Oddworld would look like done in the style of this, you know, high quality Rupture Farms image. So here's the result in the top right compared to the original in the top left. Now I'm not sure I did it properly, as this is, as I said, the first ever thing I've ever done with EbSynth, and with more practice I'm sure I can get it to work way better. And obviously there's a lot of various problems with it, especially for the first half. But I think there's two main problems that really stand out and are really quite a big problem for the shot. The initial main problem that comes up, I think, is that the original fades in from black. And I don't think EbSynth quite knew what to do about that, so it just kind of does this warp, nebulous-like transition effect into the shots, which I actually think works quite well, to be honest, even though it's unintended. The next main problem is that the possession orbs, and by the way, until now I don't think I ever even realised that there's two possession orbs in the opening shot, I always just remember one. But yeah, they're the final main problem, but I kind of knew before I did it that would probably be an issue because I didn't bother to tell EbSynth what to do when the possession orbs come into the shot, so they were absent from the keyframes I submitted to it. I just figured as this was my first test, there's no point worrying about that for now. Now the first half of the shot I think is pretty messy and pretty bad, but actually the second half of Rupture Farms itself, ignoring the nebulous entity that was once a possession orb, I think actually turned out quite well. Now the quality is not much of an improvement, which was my whole intention with doing it initially. But that was because, as I said earlier, the image file I replaced it with wasn't as big as I thought, and therefore the quality was lessened. But I can get way better quality pictures of Rupture Farms, I think, so I can try this again and use it to create a truly high quality version of the scene, as well as other scenes. I've seen some pretty high quality pictures of Soulstorm Brewery, so it'd be interesting to see if I could do something with that. But this whole test shows that it worked overall pretty well, or can work pretty well, and I'm interested to see what else can be done with it. I've had a few ideas for a rather long time, including whether this technology could be used to colour black and white scenes, by putting in a colour variant of a shot from a black and white video. I think that could potentially work quite well. I also think people have been using it to create an aging effect of footage of people, which is also quite an inspired idea. But yeah, I find this sort of thing very interesting, all this sort of technology that, people invent and this sort of thing. So I just thought I'd make a video exploring my first exploit with EbSynth.
Hello, follow me.